The youngest brother, being still alive, Antiochus not only appealed to him in words, but promised with oaths that he would make him rich and enviable if he would turn from the ways of his ancestors, and that he would take him for his friend and entrust him with public affairs. So it's not just about fame and honor. I'm going to give you authority. People will answer to you, and you will be considered in my arena, in my circle of friends. Like I said, everything that could be possibly put on the table is put on the table before this young man. And this is after he's had to watch his 6 brothers be tortured. I cannot imagine what would happen with just one brother, and how you would go stark raving numb over what's happening. But to see what he's experienced today, no description to that. You can't even put that into words. Continuing on, how does this young man to respond? I mean, the nightmare can end right here. All he needs to do is compromise. Verse 25, we read this: since the young man would not listen to him at all, the king called the mother to him and urged her to advise the youth to save himself. First, intimidation and fear, bodily persecution. He's recognizing that might not work. So now it's going to be the fame, the riches, the wealth, the honor, the authority, everything. I'm going to do that. It's not working. Now he calls the mom. In verse 26, we read this: after much urging on his part, she undertook to persuade her son. Let's talk about mom for a second before we continue here. Mom has been through a living hell that no mother could possibly handle. She's just watched her 6 sons before her own eyes butchered. How do you even respond to that? Other than now she's being given an opportunity by the king to talk to her last son. It's her only son left. Talk sense into him. Do you see how wickedly brilliant the devil is? And now he is scheming. He's moving multiple pieces together that it all seems to make perfect sense. And man, this is the most vulnerable point of the story. And how could it get more, right? And so get mom involved. And certainly, mom is not going to be willing to lose her last son. And certainly, this youngest one is going to adhere to the love of his mother. But this is what she says. It's going to go a little different than you might think. But leaning close to him, she spoke in their native language as follows, deriding the cruel tyrant, meaning Antiochus. My son, have pity on me. I carried you 9 months in my womb, and I nursed you for 3 years, and have reared you and brought you up to this point in your life, and have taken care of you. I beg you, my child, to look at the heaven and the earth and see everything that is in them, and recognize that God did not make them out of things that existed. And in the same way, the human race came into being. This mother is anointed with the Holy Spirit. She is speaking Holy Spirit right now. It's just flowing out of her mouth. This is just amazing. Verse 29, do not fear this butcher, but prove worthy of your brothers. Accept death, so that in God's mercy, I may get you back again along with your brothers. This did not go the way the Antichrist wanted it to go, the way the spirit of the devil wanted it to go. Look at this mother's faith. She knows that the only possible way she can retain her son is if he gives his life, that he maintains obedience, because she knows there is a resurrection of the dead, just as Mary knew and as Martha knew, as they listened to Yeshua's teaching, as he told them there is a resurrection at the last day. All are going to rise up. And even when Lazarus was dead, Martha tells him, I know my brother will rise at the last day. She knows it. This mother knows that she will get her son for all eternity if he follows the Lord. This is faith. This is faith that is so moving and so powerful. This transforms people when you hear about this. and their resolve. This is the kind of people the writer of Hebrews is talking about. In chapter 11, this is the kind of faith all these men possessed, whether they were delivered or whether they were tortured and killed. This is what it looks like. So how does the young man respond to mom? I mean, this is the biggest gun that the Antichrist could have pulled out. Well, in verse 30, while she was still speaking, the young man said, "What are you waiting for? I will not obey the king's command, but I will obey the command of the Torah that was given to our ancestors through Moshe. But you, who have contrived all sorts of evil against the Hebrews, will certainly not escape the hands of God, for we are suffering because of our own sins." Here you have the youngest son, and he recognizes the reason this spirit of Antichrist was able to come in like a flood and to have the power he had was because of the people's sin. I got to take you to Micah, because this guy is just like pulling from the prophet Micah. Micah 7, verse 8 says, "Do not rejoice over me, my enemy. When I fall, I will rise. When I sit in darkness, the Lord will be a light to me. I will bear the indignation of the Lord." Why? Because I have sinned against him. Exactly what this young man has come to the table with is exactly what we read here in Micah. And so continuing on, listening to this young man. "For our brothers, after enduring a brief suffering, have drunk of ever-flowing life under God's covenant. But you, by the judgment of God, will receive just punishment for your arrogance." See, this brother knows where his brothers are and what they have done. He knows that they're going to resurrect. He knows they're going to have all eternity. But for him, he's as good as dead. Verse 37, "I, like my brothers, give up body and life for the Torah of our ancestors, appealing to God to show mercy soon to our nation, and by trials and plagues to make you confess that he alone is God." Isn't that amazing? By trials and plague to make you confess. Do you realize the kid is prophesying? This young man is prophesying, basically telling you exactly what the book of Revelation says. Oh, verse 39. "The king fell into a rage," see, because when you don't do things his way, he absolutely flips out and loses it, "and handled him worse than the others." How is that even possible? "Being exasperated at his scorn, so he died in his integrity, putting his whole trust in the Lord." And it wasn't just him that died. If you read the story, the mom also was killed in this, and she died in her integrity. And man, does this story honor her. She was an honorable woman. And actually, the king took the mother with the children, something that's prohibited in Torah. Even amongst the animals, you don't take the mother with their young. Now, this is what the Antichrist does, because everything that is good and holy, he has to do the opposite. He's pure rebellion, the essence of pure evil. Unless you have faith like these men, unless you have faith like the apostles, unless you have faith like all these men and women mentioned in Hebrews chapter 11, you have this kind of resolve, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to make it in this generation. Because persecution is coming. All the signs, this spirit of the Antichrist, and it's coming to power, great authority, it plays over and over again throughout history. And those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. All you need to do is see this play out again. You can see it right in front of your face right now. It's at the door. And when you know it's coming, my biggest concern is this. You need to be prepared. You need to be ready. You need to have a relationship with the Lord Yeshua, because if you don't, it's going to be the end of it. There's going to be no hope for you. And if you think everything that we read today was bad, pretty much the last thing that's on my bucket list to do is to end my life like that. That is nothing compared to the judgment of Yeshua. So if you think that's bad, that's nothing. The judgment of the Lord is far more terrifying. And that is certainly something you do not want to see.
Hey there, this is Mike at Corner Fringe Ministries. Thanks for watching our video. If you liked the video or it encouraged you, do us a favor. Hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the share. And if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. Now, if you want to watch the rest of this video, hit the button here. And if you want to watch the rest of this series, you can check it out here. And don't forget, you can download the Corner Fringe Ministries app today on any of your Play stores. Thanks for joining us at Corner Fringe Ministries.